It is August 1st. We are ready for high school football. This has become an annual tradition here at the Fort Wright Chick-fil-A. We are talking high school football today. Beechwood and Covington Catholic. This is our first WCPO High School Insider podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dyer. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb No. Caleb, how about we start August with some high school football talk? No better teams to start off with here with Cuffcat and Beechwood.
Mike Dyer asked me to come do this podcast with him, just like we did last year, and I'm like, we're talking chicken and football, I'll be there. You don't have to convince me any more than that.
Yes, indeed. We would like to thank Fort Wright Chick-fil-A owner-operator Brent Lynn for all this hospitality and hosting this special event here. As I mentioned, this is our third year of doing these live podcasts going back to 2019. This is Chick-fil-A's fourth consecutive football season supporting the WCPO High School Insider podcast, along with all of our WCPO high school football. So we really appreciate it. Thanks again to Brent and his entire family for providing this outlet for us. As this WCPO High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants. The winning play is always chicken. Download the app for easy ordering. And like I mentioned, this is the first of four special preseason high school football podcasts here at Chick-fil-A. Tomorrow we're going to be at the Glenway Avenue location, talking high school football with Oak Hills, Elder, and Western Hills High Schools. Wednesday we're going to be at the Kenwood Town Center, going to highlight Moeller, Sycamore, and Indian Hill. Then on Thursday, we're going to add a new location, the Fairfield Chick-fil-A, as we're going to talk to Wintonwood's head coach Chad Murphy and Fairfield coach Jason Krause. But here, like I mentioned, annual tradition to kick off the High School Insider podcast, Beechwood and Covcat. Pleased to be joined by Beechwood coach Noel Rash, who brought along two of his players, senior running back Mitchell Berger, along with senior offensive lineman and linebacker Austin Waddell, and also Covington Catholic coach Eddie Evanston. He brought along two of his players, senior inside linebacker and offensive tackle Aiden Jones, and senior slot receiver and strong safety Oliver Bent. So again, thank you to both programs for being here, and we're going to open up the conversation here to both coaches. We're going to kind of start that off with Coach Rash, Coach Evanston. These teams play actually at Covcat September 16th. This nearby series started back in 1978, where these two teams have met, and Beechwood won last year for the first time since 2014. And I'm going to open this up to Caleb to kind of get things going here with these coaches.
All right, yeah, well, we'll start with Beechwood here. I will talk about a little bit about that rivalry, though. I'll tell you what, last year, the Covcat Beechwood game, it was my first. It was the first I got to experience the student section's walk up to Beechwood. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the Braveheart March.
The Braveheart March. I couldn't remember the name of it. That was first of all, that was unreal. That was one of my favorite traditions that I've seen before a high school football game.
Yeah, it's fun for us. I'm sure Coach Rash doesn't think so much, but yeah, I mean, it's been a tradition at our school for well before I got there, and but our kids really enjoy it, and it's a fun week. And when you get Beechwood and Cuffcat, these guys have kind of grown up together. They all know each other pretty well. The families do, so I think it's a fun atmosphere.
All right, I want to talk to Beechwood here for just a second. The Beechwood guys. First question I always ask before this thing with Beechwood. We asked it the guys last year. I'm going to ask you guys, how many state championships does Beechwood have? 16. Is he right or is he wrong?
Austin.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You're not gonna throw your own number in there. You're going with his 16.
I was thinking it was 16, 17, something like that.
Okay.
I thought you were going to ask him the favorite menu item. Or does that come after?
You want to do that? You want to do that too? Favorite menu item here at Chick-fil-A?
Probably the grilled chicken nuggets.
The chicken nuggets. You're a chicken nuggets guy.
Yeah, number one, Polynesian sauce.
Cool. So.
Mitchell, lean into the mic when you're
Yeah, let's get you up there so we can hear you. You get the 16 was the correct answer there. Yeah, you can pull it off there and just pass it around to each other if you want to.
Take it off the stand.
Yeah, there we go.
There you
go. Beechwood reigning and back-to-back Class 2A state champions here. They just moved up to Class 2A recently and have had no problem with that transition. Again, Beechwood, the reigning and back-to-back Class 2A state champs. I want to start, though, with the coaches here real quick. If you were the commissioner of high school football, whether it's in Kentucky or anywhere in the country, what would you do to make high school football better
This is
overall?
for both of you guys.
This is for either of you.
is, it's hard to speak on a national level because I don't know it's a state by state thing. But as far as our state's concerned, I think they're trying to raise participation ever since the concussion issue, Corey Stringer passing with the running and giving us our pads, taking away our pads. The goal, according to Julian Tackett, has been to increase player participation. And when you're doing that on a statewide level, you make decisions that may not help your school or this school, but overall it's helping. So I love what they're doing with that. But the one thing that I would probably change, I just told Eddie before we started, this scrimmaging on August 5th, we keep bumping this season up to where we're right in the middle of the heat. I think we just need to push it back and go back to the way it was. But it's hard when school's starting, you got year-round school and all these different things. But if I had anything to do, we wouldn't start that first scrimmage until the third week of August and then start the season in September. But, we're going to play in whatever ballpark and however they want to set this thing up, we're going to do it.
Any thoughts, Eddie, at all? Anything?
I agree with Coach Rash, and I think the biggest thing is each year it seems like we've just put more and more on these kids. To be quite honest with you, and we just talked about the NIL deals that are going on at college. I mean, part of me is like, when's that going to reach the high school level? And these kids, I mean, it's crazy to even think about. So, I think it's a lot about that. I think we have a dead period in Kentucky. Personally, I wouldn't mind if they even extended it to a little bit longer. They'd probably have to push our season back, which I think they could do. But I guess they got to think about their other sports that are involved in the state, and everything's got to be done within a school calendar. And I know there's a lot to think about, but that's from a football standpoint. I think that would make at least the sport of football a little bit easier to manage, a little bit better for the kids overall.
How does that change the dynamic as a head coach? I mean, you guys have both been at this a very long time, but I mean, you talk about Coach Rash, how early it is. I mean, what does that do for you, I guess, in terms of your calendar?
Well, and I love that my players are there because you got to watch your patience level because everything's getting pushed up at you and you're trying to get the stuff installed that you need installed. So the method in which you go about how much am I going to put in today, how much we're going to put in tomorrow, and just like Coach Evison said, we're putting a lot on these players, and we got to make sure that we balance all that properly. And you're not going to get it right all the time. When you don't, you got to make sure that you go back, you meet with coaches in your team, and you kind of work through these processes. But it's the way you go about installing, and offense is usually the one that gets behind a little bit if you're moving stuff up, and if you're giving yourself shorter windows, that's harder to do. So you've got to really sit down and work through how we're going to get stuff installed. With all the other things that are on our plate with special teams and all the other aspects of this thing.
Eddie, how do you avoid burnout?
Yeah, it's tough, and you got, especially you have a lot of kids that play multiple sports. When's their break? When's family time? All those things. So, from a football standpoint, it's tough because football's such a routine. You got to get in that routine. I think if you're gonna be a machine, if you're gonna do what the programs do that continuously win, you got to get in that routine. That gets monotonous. That gets all that. So it's tough to keep them from burning out. But that's a great question.
I'll remind everybody here that this WCPO High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Go for the extra point with the side of their macaroni and cheese. And again, thank you to Fort Wright Chick-fil-A for hosting this first podcast of the entire high school football season. And I know, Caleb, you want to talk to Beechwood a little bit more here in depth, especially these two guys, Mitchell and Austin.
Let's go into some stuff about this season a little bit. Coach Noel, we'll talk to you first, Noel Rash, and we'll get to the players. We'll talk to you guys a little bit too. Obviously, Coach, 23-game win streak for you guys. We mentioned back-to-back state championships. But one factor here is you lose your quarterback. The 2 seasons ago won Mr. Football here in Kentucky. How do you go about replacing Cam Herget?
Well, that's the thing that every school does across the nation. You're going to lose talent, and when you lose talent, you got to plug back in. You got to lean on your seniors to fill in those voids and make sure that they're doing everything they can to make sure that we're as good as we were, if not better. Trying to keep sharpening the saw, as Stephen Covey would put it. But every year you run into these problems. Cam was a special player, but you're looking at 2 very special players, and we got a bunch sitting over there that are going to make that difference. And you make it up in the aggregate, so to speak, in the fact that I don't know if you replace it with one guy, you make it up with a team attitude, and that's what we got to continue to do when we're in this. When you lose a guy like that.
You mentioned the two guys sitting across from us here, Mitchell Berger and Austin Waddell. What is it about these two guys that are going to help this team be as successful as it could be this season?
You know, talking about Cam and then bringing it to these guys, there's this thing called competitiveness, and guys get into games, they get into practice, and they compete at a high level. They go about their business in a way that says, I want this thing 110%. And that's what those two bring. They bring a standard in that locker room that has to be set year in and year out. And, you know, you're talking about the championships and all that, and it comes down to that. Managing that locker room, the seniors taking over the team and getting juniors and sophomores to buy in and then become one unit. And that's what these guys, but they compete at a high level. They're extremely talented, but they compete at a very high level, and that is the most significant aspect to them.
Austin, take me inside maybe the coaches talk to the team, maybe even in the spring. I mean, Coach just mentioned, you know, you start from scratch, basically. You know, it's how hungry the seniors want to be, how they want to lead this team. Take me through that process, how it gets started maybe back in the spring and how it leads into the summer.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, it starts off, he just tells us, you know, it's our team, and what we are is what we're going to make it. So we can do as much as we can, and he can enforce it with words, but we got to prove it with action and lead by example and try to get the young guys on board and show them what we're all about year in, year out.
How difficult is it not to look to what happened last season and start that new journey?
I mean, you could say it's difficult, but we've been around through the past 2 years, so we saw what it's like and what it takes to get to where we want to be. So as long as we just hold the standard and keep raising the standards, I think we'll be all right.
Mitchell, what makes Beechwood football so special? I mean, people from the outside see the state championships, and as Caleb just alluded to, you know, 16, that number, and you see 15-0 last year. I mean, I think people just take it for granted who follow high school football. I mean, tell us what's in the water there in Fort Mitchell.
The whole city of Fort Mitchell, all the community, the school, everyone just supporting us.
Simple as that, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much pride do you take in it as a player, as somebody who's a student athlete that goes to the school? I know you play other sports as well, but what's it mean to you to carry on that tradition each and every fall?
It's good. I like to take pride in it and represent Beechwood football in a nice way.
How special was a Friday night playing in front of the home crowd?
Nothing better.
Mitchell, I feel like anytime I show up to Fort Mitchell, I'm like, Mitchell Berger's doing something. Like during football season, I show up and you're scoring touchdowns. I come there in the spring and you're like hitting dingers. How do you balance all the things that you do outside of school itself?
The coaches will take it easy on my body. They'll limit my time in practice and reps. Take it easy on my body.
What do you? I don't know if you've made this decision yet. If you have, I apologize. Have you decided? Are you going to play? Are you going to play football? Going to play baseball in the future? Or do you know yet?
I'm gonna go be a PO at Eastern Kentucky.
Okay, cool. So you're going to EKU. Nice, cool, man. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah, Mitchell rushed for 508 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. Got 29 passes for 560 yards and 7 touchdowns. And Coach, I mean, tell us a little bit about some more of the offense. I know you guys, obviously have guys that go both ways, but what do you like about the offense this year?
Well, we're bringing in a sophomore quarterback, so that immediately makes me go crazy because the word sophomore, I immediately think, oh, grief, I'm going to have headaches out the wazoo. But the kid's been really performing well. The seniors are surrounding him and obviously giving him confidence along with the staff. But I think we're going to, obviously it's going to be a little different. Cameron was such a great runner and thrower, and now we got a kid that's more of a prototypical pro-type style quarterback where he's going to sit in the pocket. He'll run the ball, and he's going to run it some. But so that'll manifest itself a little differently, and we'll adjust. That's what high school coaching is. You adjust every year. You got guys that can run and throw. You got guys that can just run. You got guys that are just so it's adjusting the offense. So we're still going to see how this thing plays out. We haven't had a whole lot of time together. Baseball season this year, we've had a lot of summer interruptions. Now that today we started camp, which is our 2-a-day practices, and we're really going to know by the end of this week, and hopefully we'll know a lot by the end of this week about how we're going to go about attacking this year offensively.
Well, you mentioned that scrimmage, August. I mean, you got Campbell County this this Friday, and
Correct.
I guess Cooper next week. What do you, as a coach, want to get out of those scrimmages, especially this first one? Because I mean, you guys still learning the system and things like that. I would assume in some ways.
For us, and it hits back on the last question that Eddie and I are blessed with, and with NIL and these other things coming at us, we're blessed with two schools that are extremely similar and very close together, that overlap in their districting. But the point is that we have communities that live and die by what we do, and you got to love that. And our kids feel that, and they play hard for that. So that's one of the things. Right there is what I want in the scrimmage. I want them to learn how to play their butts off for each other. There's a lot of other motivations. Just play hard for each other. You can be angry with me all you want. Just play hard for each other. But make mistakes 100 miles an hour, and then let's be willing to correct those things in a positive way. Let's get it fixed, whatever we see on tape, and let's keep going downhill. So come together, and make mistakes 100 miles an hour. That's the two things I want to see in a scrimmage.
What do you do to prepare for a season, Coach?
Personally?
Just personally. You've been at this so many years, 16th year, 180 wins, not that anybody's counting. But just take me inside how Coach Rash gets ready for
Mike
you.
Dyer's always counting.
Okay. I think the thing that started helping me was I'm a little intense at times. So I started golfing a little bit in the off season. And when you're getting your hind end handed to you on the golf, you start to realize, okay, trying to relax. That's the number one thing, trying to find a way to get away from it for a little bit. Just like from this morning's practice to getting here, my phone went off probably 15, 20 times. And you got to answer people, and everybody that's trying to get a hold of you, it's 99% of it's for good reason. But you just need to be able to shut down for a little bit and get away from it. And each year you try to get a little better at it. At relaxing, so when you arrive, you're rested and you're ready to rock and roll.
How's your golf game?
Well, this year wasn't worth a crud because I only play. Normally I've played about 100 rounds by now. So as much as I said golf was helping me, I played one round this year. So look out, fellas.
Where'd you play?
I played in the Beechwood golf outing to raise money for the Beechwood Athletics.
Nice.
So
how'd you do? It was like a best ball thing.
It was a best ball thing. So
did you have the best ball?
Yeah, I was one of the. I did all right.
You carried your team, is what you're saying.
No, I didn't carry our team. No, not
Is
at
anybody
all.
watching that was on his team? Who was on you?
We've won the Beechwood outing the last 3 years. The fourth year, which was this year, was we got in a 3-round playoff and we got beat in the playoff.
Well, what's your strong point? Are you a guy that gets up there and crushes it at the tee box, or are you
it's short game?
Okay,
short game, mid irons, and short game.
Gotcha. Okay.
What's he like to play for, guys?
Come on.
Be honest.
Because he's obviously intense and he yells a lot, but most of the time he's like I don't know how to explain it, but like he'll yell at you, but the next after that he'll yell and then he'll bring you up and tell you what you did wrong. Like some people just yell and just leave you out to dry, but he brings you up and actually teaches you what you did wrong, so you appreciate it a lot.
Do you remember a specific game, Mitchell? That Coach got on you?
My
practice?
freshman year, we were playing New Cath, and our old coach, I was on the special teams for punt. I think I went inside, and RT came on the sideline and ripped my butt and called me can't remember, but he ripped into me.
It might not be appropriate for radio.
We're making it G-rated here. Caleb, I know you got to ask a trivia question here, and that
All right,
involves
yeah,
Coach too.
You want to get? Well, one more thing here. I'm pretty sure last year, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure last year we got some Noel Rash impressions from the players. Am I remembering correctly?
I think we did.
We got any Noel Rash impressions this year?
Don't even try it.
Like sayings or just
impersonation?
Sayings, impersonations, any of that.
I know last year he said all sophomores should be shipped to Siberia.
Yeah. Ship your sophomores to Siberia, let them bang on a rock for a year, and then bring them back.
There you go. All right, trivia question for Beechwood. Coach Noel Rash earned a degree in history and secondary education in 1994 from Thomas More College. What positions did he play, this is for you guys,
There you go.
on the football team? We got multiple choice here, but if you already know the answer,
Say it into the mic too, please. So go ahead and read off
Take
the
a shot, Lord.
okay.
you want multiple choice here?
Yeah.
Phone a friend.
It's a combination of positions, by the way. It's offense defense.
Give him the
No, I'm sorry. It's actually both on the
Little bit
same
both.
side of the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. I just gave away the answer.
No.
Did he play quarterback? Did he play running back? Or did he play linebacker?
Linebacker.
They knew he played defense. He played linebacker and what other position on defense?
Senior year, they moved me farther away from the ball.
Ooh.
Safety?
He gave it away, said it moved him farther away from the ball. That is correct. The answer is linebacker and safety. Coach Noel Rash was a linebacker and safety at Thomas More.
Chick-fil-A gift cards for
Hey,
you.
giddy up.
I think that earns
There
some
you
free
go.
chicken
Thanks
there.
for
Noel,
being with us here.
did you enjoy linebacker or safety more?
Well, the first year was kind of a hybrid. We ran a four. It's hard to explain, but anyway, long story short, our D line got so good. Actually, my senior year, I played more corner because we played a lot of cover too.
Okay.
So my senior year, I was out at corner. I put on 20 pounds and they moved me to corner, so I was a strong safety and then a corner.
When did they tell you they were moving you to DB?
Lord, I don't know. I was told I was a dime a dozen every day. So, I'm one of those old, I'm from the old school. You get told that you just do it. Sure, go. I wasn't a premier player. Thank God I was able to start for 3 years and be a captain and do all that stuff. But out of 11 starters on that defense, I was number 11 if you're ranking talent. So,
But versatile, that's what it's all about, man.
yeah, let's hope.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time and perspective. Again, Beechwood opens the season at Fairdale August 20th, and best of luck to the Tigers going forward. And again, Austin Waddell and Mitchell Berger and Coach Noel Rash, really appreciate your time and perspective.
Mike, thank you. And what you and Caleb, what you guys truly appreciate what you do for high school athletes and high school sports.
Thank you.
It's vital, and thank you.
Appreciate it. Now we're going to highlight Covington Catholic here and bring in a couple of their players here that Coach Evanston has brought.
Get out of the way. Get out the way. Do I have to stay here? Look how big these guys are. I don't want to. Hey, I'll stay. I'll just stay. I'll just stay. You sure? Yeah, you might get out of here. Let me get out of the way. Good luck, guys. Good health. Look at that. Eddie's getting skinny. Look at that.
Hey, Noel, are you gonna head out in a second? Okay.
And again, as we're getting transition here to Covington Catholic, want to remind everybody that this WCPO High School Insider Podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants. And again, thank you to Brent Lynn, owner-operator here at Fort Wright, for all the hospitality and hosting this podcast for the first of many to come here this high school football season. And now, Coach Evanston, I'm going to bring you into the conversation here. And obviously, as I mentioned before, you bring in senior Aiden Jones and also senior Oliver Bent. And guys, thanks for taking a few minutes here. And tell us about your impressions of the Colonels this summer. Oliver, we'll start with you and what you like most about the offensive side of the ball, I guess.
Yes, sir. On offense, we got a lot of guys got to step up to the plate. We got a couple quarterbacks right now trying to give that position. Once we get that figured out, then I think we're going to be full swing. For sure, we're going to be definitely better than what people perceive us as, I believe.
How hungry is this team, Aiden, would you say, when you kind of get the vibe around the locker room?
Yeah, I'd definitely say we're a hungry team. Every day we come in and grind, 7 a.m. in the morning in the summer. We definitely want to win this year bad.
And Coach, I want to kind of shift the conversation to you a little bit. And first question, too. I mean, this is maybe not necessarily about this year's team, but everybody saw that video last week of Notre Dame and Michael Mayer being involved in the fabulous, uniform reveal for their game in Las Vegas in October. And just tell me a little bit about how proud you are of Michael and what he's been doing there at Notre Dame, and just seeing him do some big things for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you get that question asked a lot, just in general about everything about Mike. I think for me and probably our coaching staff, we're not surprised. The success he had or has had, and the trend that he's making right now, makes a lot of sense to us. He's a kid that kind of set the tone when he was at Cuffcat of how he practiced and how he worked and how competitive he was. So, see him doing those things is great, and obviously he's doing a little acting, and he's been on some podcasts, so he's come a long way, I think, because he was a rather shy guy in high school, so he's come a long way. So we are proud of him.
He was here on our podcast. I want to say 2019, the first year we did this, and
That's correct.
It was great to talk to him and his brother AJ. I know they've done some pro camps at Covcat as well, right?
Yeah, they had their first one this summer. It was a great turnout. They did a great job, and they had a bunch of kids there, and the kids really did enjoy it.
How much do you talk about maybe to those? I know there's several other guys that have gone through your program, but obviously Michael getting a lot of national attention. I mean, do you speak to these guys, maybe some of your current players, about what he's done?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think these guys know it, and these guys have they're around the program, and saw it, and it's just one of those things that you kind of remind them of. Okay, why is this person successful? And obviously, there's talent, there's a physical stature there, but a lot of the things that when you get to that level, everyone's big, and everyone's talented. Why is he still? Why is he still ranked this high? Why is he still? This is his work ethic, and that's kind of the message I think that everyone can use, right? And everyone can hear it. So it's take that talent, but it takes more than just talent. Take that physical body. It takes more than that. So we remind them of that because we saw it firsthand.
Colonels were 9-4 last year, and Covington Catholic opens the season against visiting Elder at 7 p.m. on August 19th. And Coach, just give me some general impressions. I know you gave me some players to watch, and what's kind of the vibe around this team from your perspective, and what kind of energizes you about this upcoming season?
It's funny because every team's different, and every year you have that. So it's always kind of a new season, and that's what gets my juices flowing a little bit. Just trying to figure out all these pieces of the puzzle. What's the identity of our football team going to be? And I talk to these seniors a lot about them setting the tone. It's how they choose. What's this team going to look like? It's going to be up to them. And so our team right now, we don't have many returning starters. We have some guys that had pretty good experience last season, but we're going to have a lot of new faces in starting lineup. So some of those guys will be young, and okay, are they going to play young? Or are they going to play like a veteran? And so that might be kind of at least set the tone early in the season of what we're going to look like. And obviously we have a long season ahead of us, and that's kind of how you got to go about things. You got to keep on building those blocks if you're going to make a nice run at the end. And we hope to have a good tone set early, and hopefully be successful and continue to build on that. But it's going to be up to those young guys and how these seniors lead.
3 returners on offense and 4 on defense. Caleb?
When you look at your schedule this season, Mike mentioned that you all open up against Elder. Always going to be a tough matchup, but then I think you play 3 games straight on the road there. You talk about wanting to learn the identity of your team, but to play a team like Elder in week 1 and then play boom, 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 3 road games, how much do you learn about your team's identity in that stretch alone right there?
A lot, and I even talked to these guys this morning after our practice. We learned a lot this morning because, today was first day in pads. And we haven't played we haven't practiced football. Nobody's practiced football because football doesn't start until you put pads on.
Sure.
And everybody's in t-shirts and shorts up to this point, and we learned a little bit more about our team this morning, and those are things that now we know where we're at, where our weaknesses are, where our strengths are, and let's build off that. So with that schedule, we're going to be tested early. We're going to say, all right, how mature is our team? How mature are we to be able to travel, handle those things while we're in school? All those things that go with a travel game and getting on a bus and going 3 hours and getting home late and then having to come back in and all those different things. How mature are we? How do we handle all that? This beginning, this first month of our season will give us an identity of what can we do? Where are we? Are kids focused enough? And So that'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
For both of you here, he said you put the pads on this morning. How much do things change once you put the pads on? What's that like putting the pads on for the first time in a season?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like he said, it's not really the same until you put the pads on. Some guys step up. Some guys go away from the spotlight when the pads come on and get the contact going.
Yes, sir. Cuffcat is a very physical football team, and there definitely are some players on the team who shy away from that physicality. So this morning when we put the pads on, it was eye-opening to see who we got on our team and who's ready to be a dog this season.
Are you ready to be a dog this season?
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Coach, why'd you bring these two guys? What are you expecting from them this season?
The leadership, and it's kind of funny. We're just on these are probably the two most physical players we have in our locker room. But Aiden obviously is going to be a 3-year starter for us. He's a big time player, and so no matter what, and I think he's starting to realize this. No matter what, everybody's going to look towards him. They're going to look at him and say, all right, what's Aiden doing? How's Aiden handling this? Let's feed off of Aiden. So those are big expectations, but he's a big time player. He's going to have to be able to handle this. So very excited. I know he will. And so he's going to be a focal point in our team, not only on the field but in the locker room. And Oliver is he is that player that you, as a sophomore, you're like, okay, he's going to build. He said, I'm going to build myself into something, right? And it's like, all right, who knew Oliver Ben as a sophomore? All right, I'm going to build myself into something, and that's what the high school football is all about. Not too many guys are going to have that opportunity that Aiden's going to have.
Committed to Army West Point, by the way.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so 99% of them aren't. But what are they going to be in that moment? High school football's so short. You're even talking varsity. You're looking 3 years, sometimes 2, depending on what high school you're at. It's so short. So, Oliver built himself into that player and now a leader. So these are two guys that we are going to lean on, and, I feel comfortable with that.
I'm going to toss it up to you. Is Oliver ready to be a dog this season?
Oliver's ready to be a dog. Sometimes we got I think I got to put a chain on Oliver every once in a while. So
It's a good problem to have. What was your takeaway from first practice in pads today?
It was fine. It was it's one of those things where it's when people say the bullets start flying, which very cliche to say, but when things get going, the speed of the game amps up.
Sure.
Everybody in t-shirt shorts, you're not going to get hit. Right now, you could. So everything speeds up. So I think it's just that progression of trying to play football but not hit each other to, okay, now we are hitting each other. It's a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time. So I'm not too concerned overall about the lack of physicality or sometimes the amount of physicality. It's just as a team, we just got to adapt to. All right, we're not leaning into a pad. We're hand battling. We are going to war now. So, and our guys will get used to it. Like I said, a lot of them are young. They didn't have, all right, what am I doing now? So they'll get there.
What does the quarterback situation look like this year? Obviously we talked to Noel earlier about losing Cam and their whole situation. Your all's quarterback situation. How does your all's quarterback situation look going into the year this year?
Yeah, we got 3 guys that are all very athletic. They all throw the ball pretty well. And so, we got Zach Roberts, who's a senior, and we got Evan Pitzer, who's a junior, and then Jackson Reardon, who's a sophomore. So these guys, we got in each class, but they're battling. They do things a little bit different, but they all throw the ball pretty well. They're all athletic, and so we've had a very healthy competition, at least through this summer. The biggest thing, as I coach quarterbacks, the biggest thing I told them, even like with this morning, all right, now, easy to sit in that pocket 7-on-7.
Sure.
Right? All right, now, here we go. So, and that might be what we have to see. So, to name a starter, to figure out who exactly that guy's going to be might take a while.
Well, that's what I was going to. You kind of hit on my next question there, which was going to be, all right, week 1 against Elder, do you expect to have a starter named, or are you one of these guys that if that competition extends a week or 2 or whatever, what have you, into the season, is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think we want to get too far into where we're not getting that guy, whoever that guy is going to be, the proper game reps. But able to have a group practice we'll have on Friday, and then a one scrimmage to where we can actually get some heated competition going. Hopefully that separates one of them from the others.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of your juniors here, Braylon Miller and also Willie Rodriguez. I know you're high on both those guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're both very talented. Both got saw time last year, and they were just kind of in that sophomore stage of, giving us great depth. And now I think with a year under their belt, I expect both of them to have breakout seasons. And it's one of those two of those guys I was talking about earlier about young guys that we need to. And if those guys can have big seasons, that just makes our team better. And so, but both very talented. And so we got put again, it's that maturity level on the field, on Friday nights, with film study, with doing your assignment right, all those different things that, will hopefully make them even better players and some game breakers.
Aiden and Oliver, I just want to ask you, what does Cuffcat football mean to each one of you? Aiden, you have the mic, so I'm just kind of curious.
It means a lot. I mean, my whole family went to Cuffcat, and the community. It's a great community. Also on the field, it's always been a physical team, flying to the ball on defense, always giving our best effort at practice.
What about for you, Oliver?
Yeah, I love Cuffcat. Cuffcat means a ton to me. Just the opportunity to go to school there. I have a lot of siblings, so all of us being able to go to Catholic school is a really blessing. I'm very fortunate to be able to attend Cuffcat. I enjoy going there. It's something that not a lot of people get, so I'm very thankful for
How would you describe it? Just the atmosphere in games, maybe just around school? I mean, to those who aren't familiar.
Electric.
What on Fridays are you all? Is it like a wear the jersey to school, or is it wear like a tie? What do you?
Oh, it's all business.
All business.
Shirt, tie, dress shoes. You want me to repeat it for you? Shirt, tie, dress shoes.
What is that all about? Is that like a?
I think that's an impersonation of somebody.
all about the shirt, tie, and dress shoes, though.
Caleb, I'm making a note. I think Oliver is going to be an interview that we want to get after the games this season. So, are you making a mental note?
But
too?
he needs to be in shirt, tie, and dress shoes for that interview. It'll be after the game. We'll give you time to go change into your shirt. Are you a blue tie kind of guy? Or are you like blue tie for the school, or
Whatever looks best on me.
Well, let me ask you this: do you change the look every week, or is it like the same thing every week, like a
I like to mix it up.
superstitious type
I like
of
to
thing?
mix it up.
You mix it up.
I actually got a trash bag with a bunch of ties in there. Just pick out a tie. That's a tie I'm wearing. That's how it works.
I used to do that too. I finally upgraded to like a cardboard box that I put my ties in now. So I stepped up in the world. Are same deal for you, or is it the same thing every week?
Yeah, I mix it up too.
You mix it up too.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the tie of choice? Are we talking like floral or
Whatever I grab.
whatever? Okay, sounds good.
Aiden, I was just curious. What made the difference for Army West Point for you? I mean, tell us about your commitment a little bit.
Yeah, I visited in the spring. The coaches were great. The facilities were amazing, top notch. But also, kind of the atmosphere there is kind of similar to Cuffcat, I feel like. And I feel like it's a place I could fit in.
Awesome. Caleb, you want to ask him the trivia?
You want to do some trivia?
Why not?
All right. Pretty similar trivia here to the Beechwood one. I don't know if you all are paying attention to that one. Eddie Eviston was a standout quarterback at Newcath. He was a 3-time NAIA National Player of the Year and 3-time All-American. At what school?
Georgetown.
Okay, cool. That wasn't even the trivia question. I was just wondering if you knew. Which NFL team? They thought they were like, oh, we got this. That's easy. Which NFL team did he sign with as a free agent? Well, actually, let me ask you first. When were you all born? What year were you all born?
04.
2005.
Okay.
Makes Coach feel old, right?
Right. You guys weren't born.
In 2002, which NFL team did he sign with as a free agent?
I'll let Aiden answer this one.
I got options here for you, but I'll put you on this. Which one was it?
No,
Which one was it?
What do you think?
Was it the Colts or no?
It was not.
Yeah.
It was not.
I don't know what's thinking
We got A, B, and C here. A, Philadelphia Eagles. B, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or C, Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, it's Chiefs. Chiefs. I knew that. I knew
Really?
that. Yeah.
Okay. It
You
is the
started with
Chiefs.
the
That is
C,
correct.
right? Yeah,
I think that
there you
deserves
go.
some free chicken. Yeah, Colts, Chiefs. I was gonna say that. Yeah, you got the first letter right, but both in the AFC. I mean, you had some things going for you there. It was fun, man. This is always.
You know, last year we tried to make it about the opposite team, or the opposing team, as it were. And I'm just trying to keep it within the same team for the questions. So
sure, no,
what you can find online,
makes
with
total
all
sense.
the
The one question
research.
we didn't ask him: what's your order at Chick-fil-A?
Spicy chicken sandwich.
You're spicing it up. Okay.
I'll get a spicy chicken sandwich meal and then another chicken sandwich on the side.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah, big.
Duly noted, right?
Is that all year round, or is that like during the off season only, or is that
That's all year round.
all year round? During football season, doesn't matter. I like they both go with the spicy chicken though. That's nice. I'm a
Solid.
spicy chicken guy myself.
There you
so.
go.
Actually, on Friday nights, me and Aiden, we come here before our games.
Do you really?
Yes,
This
sir.
specific Chick-fil-A right here.
This Chick-fil-A.
There we go.
Look at you promoting. Look at you.
I was going to say, you're going to get some extra chicken out of that, right?
Yeah, we may have to do
know
one
how
of
to
these
work it?
podcasts every
You know,
Friday
he's no
night
dummy.
at like 4:30. We'll meet you here and just do one of these podcasts before the game.
Good stuff. Well, Coach Eddie Evanston, along with Senior Aiden Jones, Senior Oliver Bent, we really appreciate your time and perspective. Best of luck to the Colonels this season, and thanks for joining us here on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And that will do it for our first episode of the special 4-part Chick-fil-A podcast series here, our preseason high school football. Caleb, any final thoughts?
Well, actually, I read through the final note on here. It said that Eddie played 6 years of indoor football. Really, I always loved indoor arena football. Was it arena,
Arena.
with the walls and everything?
It was.
How would you compare that? I'm sorry, I don't mean to
No,
carry us
go
on
for
and
it.
on here. I've got to ask you about this. What was that like compared to like outdoor 100-yard, whatever, real, not real, you know what I'm saying?
Completely different game.
Like, totally different.
Completely different game.
Okay.
It's obviously built for offenses.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be a DB in that arena league because, but
You didn't want to
I
be a
can imagine.
DB playing against you in that arena.
well,
is what
it's
you're
just
saying.
it's built for offense. You
Sure.
have
Yeah,
two
yeah.
guys going in motion, full speed, downhill. I mean, it's tough to, and you got certain rules about being. It's a different game.
I
but
think it'd be tough to be a receiver too, though, because those DBs are hunting for you.
Oh,
like,
they
you got
are.
the walls that
Oh,
you can get
yeah.
slammed into and
Yeah.
everything. Did you ever throw it high for a receiver, and he got slammed into a wall and got mad at you for it?
Not got mad because that's what he signed up for.
Okay.
But you've seen plenty of hits like that. I've actually been put over the wall a few times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
What was
So-
it like the first time that ever happened to you? I mean, it's
When
what
I-
you signed up for, like you said, but it's like the first time it ever happened. What was that like?
Putting over the wall?
Yeah.
When I realized I was okay, I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty
Did
cool.
you watch it on video?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course,
How many
yeah.
times did you watch it back?
Just a few, but yeah, they don't have huddle like we did, but yeah, we watched it a few times, but it was fun. It was fun. It's a fan friendly thing. I'm more business.
Okay.
When I came to real football, when I played, it was whatever, and I actually had to scale back and be less serious.
Yeah.
I think when you play arena, because you're interacting with fans throughout and everything.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you kind of got to let loose a little bit, but I had a blast. That's
Yeah.
what I did for 6 years. I mean, it wasn't great on the body, but
I've always loved watching arena football, indoor football, all that stuff. I think it's one of the most fun brands of football to watch. I can understand, like you said, you know what you're signing up for there,
Right.
but man, that would be a wild game to play.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Great
My final
conversation.
thoughts, that
No,
was-
great
yeah.
stuff. I love it. Yeah, it's good stuff. Hey, everybody, thanks again for listening and watching. We will talk to you Tuesday from the Western Hills Chick-fil-A, where we're going to highlight Elder, Oak Hills, and Western Hills High Schools. Thanks again.